Alright, here we are entering the Marshall stack at position 3. There's the boat. We're in the stack. We came in wings tangential, and that means our wings are level, and we're going to make a left-hand turn into the stack. We want to turn pretty good and get on into the boat, right? We don't want to linger behind the boat. And we'll go ahead and set our speed in Angels to 2. And as you can see on our HUD repeater, we're about 260. We're going to do this. We've entered the stack. We came in, we made our Marshall call. This is Warfighter Marshall. So we called Warfighter Marshall 205, marking moms 121 450, Angels 18, low state 9.7. We made that call, and we have entered into position 3 behind the boat. Beside the boat. So now we're going to just kind of roll in to our stack, and we're cleared to commence. So we're Charlie. So what we're going to do is our recip of our final bearing of 301 is 121. We're looking to roll out into a commence at position 3, being around 3.5 miles from the boat, and at 151 we want to fly wings level and speed up. So that's what we're shooting for. So here we are behind the boat, rolling in on our stack. We entered from position 3. We're doing 260 knots at 20 on the rat out. So right on. We're going to offset the boat a little bit. We want to offset the boat a little bit, and we can and should offset the boat a little bit. So here we are, offset the boat a little bit. We're going to look down. Now we want to hit position 2 at 2.5 miles from the boat. So here we go. There's the bow. Let's turn across it. And now we want to turn in, and we want to be at position 2 at 2.5 miles. That's what we're going to be at. We want to turn a little sharper after that because this is our commence. So we don't want to be 5 miles from the boat when we start our commence at position 3. We want to be closer to 3.5. Why? We want to fly wings level for a minute until we get to 5.5 miles from the boat on our commence bearing of 151. So here we are. We're approaching position 2, and we're going to be about 2.5 miles from the boat at position 2. Here's position 2. There's 2.5 miles. Right on. Now let's tighten up our turn. Let's make it a little steeper through this because we want to roll out onto 151 before 5 miles and fly wings level for a minute. Not a whole minute, but, you know, for a mile, let's say. So we tighten our turn through this. We're looking for 151, which is our recip plus 30. Or our final bearing plus 210, whatever maps you want to do. Here it comes, and here we are. We'll be less than 5 miles when we roll out on 151. Here we go. Position 3, hit fuel dump, roll out on 151, which is 121 plus 30, and let's start bringing our speed up. We do not have to go 350 now, but we've got to agree what we're all going to do, right? If the package behind me is going to do 350, we're in trouble. So, as a division, we need to do the same thing, but as flights of 4, we've got to do something. So, what we're going to do is we're going to all agree to do 300 through the commence, speed up in our turn down, or whatever you decide. I like to go 300 here. At 5.5 from the boat, I'm turning in. Here we go. Turning in. I'm going to speed up. I want to pass the 90 at around 1200 and be right now right where I'm at. This is good. This is great. Let's keep our turn up. We don't want to get too far behind the boat, but we want to get around 7 miles in here, right? We want to get around 7 miles and then kind of hold that in. We want to turn into the 90 and be 3 miles at 1200, roughly. So we don't want to descend too fast through here. We're going to get carried away, right? And we end up rolling out at 400 feet. So let's keep that nose up, keep that flex there. We're 7 miles. Let's bend in a little bit more. Sorry, 2. You're going to work some. And let's get our nose down a little bit more. We're approaching 900. Get our nose back up to 800, and there we go. Be out on the 800. And now we can just lighten off a little bit. We need this time to turn. We need this time to turn. So there we are, 7 miles behind the boat in our teardrop, which is perfect. Perfect commence. We're going to keep rolling around. And we want to hit 301
Bingo.
by 5 miles.
Bingo.
There's our bingo. Let's change that so she hushes. So we got to roll out on 301 on course line. We got to bend it a little bit more too. Sorry. We're going to bend a little bit. We can be up to 5 miles off of course line, right? But we don't want to be excessive. And we have to call initial by 3 miles. So here we are. We're going to have to bend in a little bit more. It's alright. We're going to roll out here and fly this heading for a second. And then we're going to call our initial at 3 miles. Get back on course line. So here we are, 800. Initial behind the boat. 205 initial. Low state 4.3. There we are. Let's get back on 301. Right down the pipe here. I'm going to go 1 mile from the boat. 2's going to go 2. 3's going to go 3. 4's going to go 4. Like that. Or you can do 17 seconds, or you're badasses and you can do 5 and 10. Or you can just be badasses. So here we go. Looking for 1 mile. Looking for 1 mile. Let's make this pretty. It'll usually be ugly for me. Just like that. Alright, flight. 1's in a break. Then we're going to pull through. I'd go ahead and put my flaps down. But I'll leave my gear down for a minute. I'll leave it up for a minute. We're going to start losing a little bit of altitude. And I want to roll out at 600. 1.5 miles from the boat, right? It's just what I want to do. Our gear's going down now. Nose is coming up. Rolling out to 121 by 1.5 miles. There we go. About to trim out. I gotta cut back in. Get my speed up. There we go. Too wide. So I need to come back in quickly. Right? Quickly. I need to come back in quickly. I'm way too wide. So let's come back in. Do pilot shit here. Right? This is the job. Pilot shit. I come back in. I want to go back to 121 now. Not too quickly, but I gotta get back there. And I need to get to 600 feet. Relax and do pilot shit. Here we go. I'm approaching the round down. I'm going to stay cut, though. Here we go. Cutting in at 600. It's going to be ugly and long. That's all right. Get her nose up. Not descending too much, but descending. So here we go. So we want to be 450 in this 90, and we're a little high, but that's all right. We're going to keep our bend on. 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 370 when I roll out. 3/4 of the mile. Call the ball. Let's go ahead and turn in. This will be angling. Sure. Too low. Way too low. And I'm angling.
205. Hornet ball 4.0.
So here we go. Now we're on it. Rolling out. We're going to hold it right there on the crotch. We're going to hold it on the crotch. We're going to hold it on the crotch. And now we're going to transition to the deck right here. Transition to the deck. There's the burble. Woo, the wind got me on that burble. And we're down. Throttle's out. Hook up. Flaps up. Wings unlocked. Engage high steering. Look. Follow the directions of the Director.